skunk meat is freaking delicious. Except, of course, when you're tricked into eating it. Hi, I'm attorney Barry M. Larker, and if you were one of the millions of Americans who were duped into eating something you thought was a shrimp po' boy, but turned out to be a skunky surprise, then call me at 1-888-LARK-LAW, because you have one of the best cases ever, honestly. And even though I say that to literally everyone who walks through my doors, I mean it with you. Because, come on, you got tricked into eating skunk. And if you let me handle your case, I'll get a butt ton of money, and you'll be left with some money, but a lot less than if I hadn't taken my cut off the top. But think about how much better you'll feel knowing you stuck it to those jerks, huh? A feeling of righteous vengeance and a little bit more money in your pockets, otherwise known as the American dream. Thanks to me.
Live from somewhere you're not, it's KPBC News. With your lead anchor, Anchor Cat. Greetings, I'm Anchor Cat, and these are the stories your social media algorithm thinks will enrage you and therefore keep you on their platform longer so that they can steal your data and monetize it. First up, next year will mark the 55th anniversary of the first Woodstock and the 25th anniversary of what many feel was the death rattle for the music festival, Woodstock 99. And despite the fact that many people thought that last festival was so fraught with disaster it would be the last one, apparently the allure of cashing in on the legacy of a concert that was first meant as an anti-capitalist counterculture event was too strong to resist. Next year, Woodstock 24 will be held in upstate New York. Entertainment reporter Gil Fishman has the early details for us.
That's right, Anchor Cat. The team that brought us Woodstock 99 is going to put on another Woodstock after all next year, but with some key differences. Notably, the event isn't being billed as a concert, but rather a giant multi-day outdoor sexual assault-a-thon. From what I'm being told, the show promoters felt it was just best to embrace what Woodstock has come to be known for. So far, there are no concrete details, but I'll keep tabs on this story and update you when all those details are announced.
Thanks, Gil. Recently, the Supreme Court ruled that affirmative action was unconstitutional, stating it unfairly discriminates against white and Asian students applying for college. While some scholars have noted this is the first time white evangelical Christians have pretended to care about the plight of Asian people, some folks in Florida are already celebrating this decision. Let's take you out to the floppy dong state right now, where reporter Darren Barron has the story for us. Darren.
Anchor Cat, I just got done speaking with a group of neo-Nazis who have been protesting here outside the entrance to Disney World for a few weeks. While Governor Ron DeSantis has not issued any statements condemning their presence, he has commented that here in Florida, everybody's right to be a domestic terrorist is respected. But the Nazis I spoke to here said they're not even thinking about DeSantis right now. They're just excited that with a recent 6-3 Supreme Court decision that struck down affirmative action, finally, the United States is a place where white people can thrive and advance based on either their merit or, most often, how rich their daddy was. We'll keep you posted on what else these Nazis say, right after I go punch a few in their fascist faces. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Darren. In our next story, a man in Georgia found a penny, picked it up, and for the rest of the day he was flat as a pancake because as he was picking up the penny he thought would bring him good luck, he was hit by a bus because he was crossing the street without a crosswalk at the time. Experts we spoke to said that this is one of the most shocking challenges to an axiom since author Terry Dicknose published, "This book contains all the pictures of poop on this cover," blowing the lid off the notion that you can't judge a book by its cover. It's time now again for sports with Fred Fritz. Hey Fred, you were telling me just before we went on air that the NFL has agreed to partner with the United States Psychiatric Union to designate it in a rather interesting way. Why don't you tell the viewers about it?
It would be my pleasure to, Anchor Cat. You're right. Starting next season, each NFL game will also be broadcast on a new network devoted to mental health, and each game will be broadcast under that new channel's gender-affirming care programming.
So they're going to treat the NFL and American rules football in general as something that makes a cisgender male of a certain personality type feel more masculine?
That's exactly right, Anchor Cat. This is much like when the National Gun Association recently declared that buying more guns than you have IQ points is gender-affirming care for tiny-dicked incels.
Wow, fantastic stuff, Fred. We'll check back in with you in about an hour for the scores and highlights of the day. Now it's time for our weekly segment, Conversations with the Actual Jesus.
It's me again, the actual Jesus. You know, the guy from the Bible and not the megachurch up the street financing fake lawsuits from fake people with fake grievances to take away very real civil rights from my LGBTQ little children. Which is exactly what I wanted to talk to you all about right now. It's funny to me. Well, not actually ha-ha funny, but more like punch yourself in the dick funny, that Christians, people who claim to follow my teachings and the Bible in general, basically told a lie about non-existent gay people, demanding some web designer build them a super gay wedding site. Because it violates that whole thou shalt not lie thing that's right there in black and white in the Ten Commandments in the Bible. I'd ask these people if they thought we were all blind, deaf, or stupid, but the fact is they don't care. Because it actually doesn't matter how many times you call them brazen, authoritarian, religious extremists. They just wield power and use it. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, Jesus, but what do we do to stop this madness? How do we convince these people that they should be following your teachings? And I don't have an answer. If someone can read the Bible and come away from it thinking I was a pro-gun, anti-socialist capitalist who hated queer people, frankly, those people live on a planet so far away from Earth, I can't really figure out what to do to convince them how wrong they are. And I'm freaking omnipotent, fam. Now, I do maybe have one small suggestion about how to maybe possibly address this situation, which would be for the Democrats to nuke the filibuster and ram 4 judges onto the Supreme Court. Then again, that would take Democrats actually doing something instead of pretending to do something, so I would not recommend holding your breath until that happens. Oh, well, I can see my producer is giving me the sign to wrap it up so that KPBC can sell more boner pill ad time, I guess. Until next time, everyone.
We'll be right back.
Face holes. We all have them, but only some of our face holes are worthy of being called sexy. Do you think you have a sexy face hole? Then you should be on America's hottest new reality TV competition show, World's Sexiest Face Holes. Call our producers at 1999-SEXFACE and then send us a short video clip of your face hole and an explanation of why you think you have what it takes to be crowned the winner and be given the title of World's Sexiest Face Hole.
1872, it's pink.
Are you an American evangelical Christian who needs a website built so that you can expose the truth and own the libs while also spreading whatever version of the Bible's teachings you think are in there? Then don't come to me, you bigoted, ignorant pieces of shit. Hi, I'm web designer and out homosexual Bill Williams. And thanks to the Supreme Court's recent 6-3 decision, based on a made-up case, we business owners are now allowed to discriminate against anyone we want to, as long as we imagine being oppressed by them, or we pretend they're violating our religious beliefs that we casually just ignore anytime we want to eat shellfish or pork, get a tattoo, file for a divorce. Well, you get the point. And in case you didn't get the point, go get your website designed somewhere else because I don't like judgy Jesus freaks.
Welcome back. It's time now for our Rich Bastard editorial from our own Rich Bastard, Philip Cornwall.
Recently, the Supreme Court effectively gutted President Joe Biden's attempt to cancel roughly $10,000 in student debt for millions of hardworking Americans who feel they just can't earn enough to pay down the debts that they incurred getting degrees we baby boomers assured them they'd get super well-paying jobs with. And as a rich, white, older man, I have to say, good. Because here's the thing. And I guess you woke millennials with your action figures, participation trophies, and video games can cancel me for saying this if you want, but student loan forgiveness only works when it's a rich billionaire paying off a Supreme Court justice's student loans. Anything else is full-blown communism, and that is a hill I am prepared to die on. Or rather, it's a hill I'm prepared to let some underpaid staffer of mine die on while I summer in the Hamptons. You understand me, I'm sure.
In our next story, Donald Trump Jr. reportedly sent a message to his father, former President Donald Trump, last week and assured the elder Trump that no matter which rich fascist asshole Melania Trump marries next, Donald Jr. will never, ever call that man daddy. Apparently, in response to his son's heartfelt message, Trump emailed back and asked, "Who are you again?" Next, we stay on the ex-presidential criminally fraudulent crotch fruit beat and take you out to the Big Apple, where reporter Burgess DeVito has the scoop. Burgess. Anchor Cat, just moments ago, Donald Trump's third least intelligent son, Eric, held a press conference and slammed Hunter Biden, son of President Joe Biden, for smoking crack with prostitutes. Eric told us all that if Hunter had, quote, any sense or shame of decency, unquote, he'd start a fake charity for kids with cancer and steal money from it. I tried to secure a one-on-one interview with Eric, however, I was told that it was bath time, and then, right afterward, Eric would be going to Sleepytown aboard the Sleepy Time Express. Once we figure out where that particular rail line goes, we'll try to get an interview with Eric. From New York City, this is Burgess DeVito. Keep us posted, Burgess. Next, police in California are saying that after going cold for over 35 years, the case of a stolen bicycle may have gotten the break they need to finally track down who stole the bike, why, and when. Reporter Jasper Coldcuts has the story for us. Jasper?
Anchor Cat, more than 35 years ago, the man who lives in this home behind me reported his bike stolen. And while he did eventually manage to embark on a big adventure that led to him recovering the bike himself, police in this town have always wondered who was the one who stole it in the first place. I just got done speaking to Sheriff Deputy Logan S. Preston, and he told me that his department just got a very interesting lead in this long dormant case.
For the last 3.5 decades, this case has baffled us. We knew there was a man in town who had told the bike's owner he wanted the bike, and he even gave the bike's owner the impression he was willing to go to extreme lengths to obtain it. But it wasn't until someone sent us the script of the film based on his experience that we were finally able to ascertain who the thief was.
Deputy Preston told me that when he called the bike owner, he said he was relieved to finally be able to close the case. To which the bike's owner replied, "I know you are, but what am I?" From here in California, I am Jasper Coldcuts.
Thanks, Jasper. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the guy who doesn't know about grilling, talking about grilling. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna grill up a piece of meat. It's a cut of cow. So it's like call it cow in the grilling biz. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that. We're gonna it's a process where you don't do it over like up temps. You do it against down temps or with down temps. It's a process where you're like putting a lot of smoke around it. So it's called fogging the meat. Okay. So the first thing we do is you want to. Oh crap! I forgot the. Hell yeah, dude, you got that. And I got the meat, and I remember what kind it is, and I'll show you a really easy way to remember. Okay, it's called a 3-point. It's a 3-point meat. Okay, and I used to think it was because back in the day, NBA players would like use it to like practice their free throws, but it's not because of that. I learned why. It's a cool tip, and I'm gonna show you how. Okay, check it out. I gotta switch the camera. Yeah, check it out, guys. Okay, super easy to check out. See, look. 1, 2, stop. Anyway, the third point is back there, and that's why it's a 3-pointer. Okay, it's a 3-pointer cow cut. All right, check it out. 3-pointer cow cut. All right. Oh crap. We're like gonna leave the 3-pointer cow cut in there at 1 temp, and then I probably should have read before I put it on there, but I'm sure everything's gonna work out fine. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of Guy Who Doesn't Know About Grilling, Talk About Grilling. Hit me up on my website, which I also don't actually remember right now, but it's all good. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Welcome back. Hasbro has announced that it has reached a licensing agreement with a former president currently under federal indictment for violating the Espionage Act, and will be releasing a special edition of one of their most popular board games. According to a press release issued this morning, Trumpnopoly will hit store shelves in time for Christmas this year. The game is played much like the more traditional version of Monopoly, however, each square is a different failed Trump business property, and the point of the game is to lose all your money but still convince the stupider players players that you're rich while avoiding taxes and lusting after the game pieces that look most like your daughter's game piece. Trumpnopoly will be available at Hobby Lobby stores and wherever you find KKK pamphlets locally. Up next, the makers of the breakfast cereal Nothing But Coke Nugs has issued a nationwide recall of every box their company sold this week after several fights broke out between coked up third graders crashing from their morning fix after first period. We should take this time, in the interest of full disclosure, to make viewers aware that Chemtech, the global conglomerate that owns General Foods Inc., who makes nothing but Coke Nugs, also owns this station. However, they have had no editorial input on this report, and we were allowed, as a news organization, to report it as we saw fit. We found absolutely no fault to be pinned on Chemtech, its executives, and in particular, not Chemtech Junior Vice CEO Timmy Kamika, son of Thomas Kamika, founder and CEO of Chemtech. And I can assure you that Chemtech's company logo, while it may be on my paycheck, had no bearing on that conclusion whatsoever. Next, fast food mascots Wendy and Carl Jr. were married this weekend in a small, private ceremony attended by Grimace, the Burger King, and Long John Silver. It's unclear at this time if any prenup was signed. The couple said they planned to one day have a family of restaurants that continue their shared heritage of abusing their employees and paying their wages so low that every federal taxpayer subsidizes their payroll with social safety net programs. In our next story, images of the aftermath of visitors to the Yosemite National Park during the 4th of July holiday weekend this year shocked many Americans. Viral social media posts showed a wasteland of abandoned camping gear and trash strewn all over the natural environment. While some have wondered what can be done to hold visitors who trash the park accountable, one resident of Yosemite took matters into his own hands and has apparently been arrested for it. We take you live now to Gutfield, Arizona, where reporter Mick Mackey has the story for us. Mick?
Thanks, Anchor Cat. Just moments ago, the local sheriff here in Gutfield announced that Yogi the Bear is currently in his department's custody. We were able to speak to Yogi on the phone just briefly this morning.
When I saw what those people did, I told the park rangers to show me some security footage until I could clearly identify the license plate on one truck full of assholes who left a cooler, a tent, 6 chairs, and a massive amount of food garbage on the ground. Then I broke into the DMV mainframe and found out where those sons of bitches lived, and I broke into their house. I shit all over their living room, okay? I did it. So the next time someone asks you if a bear shits in the woods, you can tell them, yes, but only if he can track down some entitled twat waffle litter bug whose house he can shit in. You tell him I told you to say that.
It's unclear at this time whether Yogi will be tried as an anthropomorphic cartoon bear or just simply as a bear. We'll bring the viewers updates as this story unfolds. Back to you, Anchor Cat.
Thanks, Mick. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Every day on FinanceNet, we give you live, up-to-the-minute breakdowns of every story impacting the value of the stocks in your 401k. And we think that's a valuable service. But no other economic or finance-based TV channel can take you into the private bathrooms where America's top CEOs are doing blow off body parts belonging to women who may someday be a Republican First Lady if they play their cards and their ovulation cycles right. Join us every day on FinanceNet and get the information the plebes are too poor to understand. Coming up at 10, don't miss the Rochelle Minnow Show, because tonight, Rochelle has a real barn burner for all you progressives out there. She's gonna feed you all the red meat you wanna hear while conveniently glossing over the part where she tells you how the people progressives elect are financially incentivized not to do the things progressives elected them to do. Now let's talk to 6 former Republicans about why they get to tell liberals how to vote because they crossed the very low threshold of agreeing that Donald Trump is a vindictive, petty, treasonous, walkie-talking carbuncle. Welcome back. Out in Parrot Crotch, Arkansas, one family tells us that they feel lucky to have Sarah Huckabee Sanders as their high priestess and governor because she understands one thing about true Christian patriots. We've got Dan Hershey live via satellite with us right now.
Thanks for having me, Anchor Cat. God bless you for allowing me to let Christ speak through me, through your airwaves.
I mean, we just wanted you to explain why you're so gung-ho about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but it's still a free country.
Until the good Lord puts me and Trump back in power in 2024 and we fix a few things.
Excuse me, what?
The point, Anchor Cat, is that I am gung-ho about Governor Huckabee Sanders. I surely am. because I just appreciate so much that she understands that we Arkansas parents want to give our children
And what is that?
a state that values that at 11 years old, kids far too young to understand their own gender identity, but at 7, they already understand that signing a lifetime contract for slave wages is what makes not only Arkansas great, is what will make America great again. Every child's hand lost in a factory accident will just hold up Lady Liberty's torch all that much stronger, Anchor Cat.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I have to cut you off right there because we have some breaking news to report. We can confirm for you at home now that Kari Lake is still not governor of Arizona. 3 years after her loss at the ballot box and dozens more losses in court, though, and Ms. Lake seems as confident as ever that she won't just be the queen of soft focus someday soon. We spoke to Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow and My Crack Pipe, about whether he thought Sasquatch was too busy helping him restore Donald Trump to power to also help Kari Lake. And we'll bring you what Mr. Lindell said in our 10 o'clock broadcast. Now let's get a look at the fishing report with our very own angler, Bobby Bisquick. Bobby, what's biting out there today?
Mostly the mosquitoes, to be quite honest with you, Anchor Cat. Apparently, I'm here at what locals call the absolute literal worst time in the history of the world to go fishing here, because apparently this is the time of year when Chemtech comes up here, drains the lake, takes all the fish back down to their laboratory, and doesn't even come back to clean their mess up. They just leave everything to fester into a swamp, like what you see behind me, Anchor Cat. And quite frankly, I know that Chemtech technically pays all of our salaries, but somebody just has to say this, Anchor Cat. The way they're treating this town, its residents, and their lake is just shameful, and it's probably illegal, and that's why I forwarded it to federal
Bobby, I'm afraid that I have to interrupt you again because we have yet another breaking story to report, and it's definitely not a made-up story Chemtech's legal team told us that we have to use anytime they were exposed as a greedy, faceless corporate behemoth. Well. Isn't it interesting how things can change in 3 short years? Obviously, scientists should never change their views based on existing and available evidence. Like all we good, clean, ammo-hoarding Christian nationalist patriots do, scientists should be legally required to just go with whatever their first gut instinct is on any given subject, and never waver from that position, even in the face of irrefutable evidence. Take, for instance, the subject of whether COVID-19 came from a lab leak or not. For a long time, we were silenced on social media if we even implied that it was a lab leak. It's true. We were silenced so much about it, you probably never saw a single tweet or Facebook post in this 3-year period from your conservative friends or family members about a lab leak, did you? No, you didn't see it, because we were silenced. Completely fucking silenced. We were so silenced, you probably didn't even know there was a lab leak theory to begin with. During that time, so many people would ask us why we were so hardcore about getting to the bottom of where COVID came from. But that should have been obvious. What if COVID was designed to be a bioweapon? Sure, we also called it a hoax. We also downplayed its threat to society in general and refused to do things like masking and getting vaccinated, which would protect us against a bioweapon. One might think it's weird that we want credit for calling it a lab leak and then also ask you to ignore that we downplayed it and didn't do fuck all to protect ourselves from a bioweapon. But my response to that is so simple and logic-based. Shut up, lib. And all this brings us to today, where it appears that people like me, who believed from the very outset of this pandemic that it was born out of an intentional lab leak in China, were right. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of crowing about being right, because that's what I'm entitled to do since I was so right. But some smarmy, sarcastic shitlibs have been commenting on my tweets and asking me why I downplayed COVID for so long if I was convinced it was a bioweapon. Why did I call it just a flu all those times if I was truly convinced it was a bioweapon? Well, let me answer that question once and for all for you. I downplayed COVID, even though I knew in my heart it was a dangerous bioweapon for one simple, singular reason. I'm a fucking moron.
The CDC sets new guidelines for washing your butt plug in a pandemic that look exactly like their guidelines for washing one outside of one. We'll talk to a doctor who will explain the science behind it. And we'll also talk to an alt-right podcaster who barely graduated high school's theory about why the science behind it makes us all gay at 11.
And finally, it's time now for our fake obituary segment brought to you by Gland Swipes, the wet wipe tailor-made for cleaning up a man's dangling genital region. Available at all Gleason's grocery stores and other retail pharmacy locations. Stan Andre, the billionaire most famously known as the man responsible for launching the Got Milk ad campaigns of the late 90s and early 2000s, died last week at the age of 82. Mr. Andre leaves behind a 5th trophy wife, 15 children, 8 of which will not speak to the other 7, and an undeniable legacy of helping pump young millennials and Gen Xers full of bovine growth hormones at the behest of the Dairy Farmers Association, who just wanted to keep reaping the same massive profits they used to before people started figuring out how milk really might not do your body good. And that's going to do it for this broadcast. From all of us here at KPBC News, I'm Anchor Cat, thanking you for tuning in, but not thanking you in a way that should imply in any way that I want to be your friend, so please stop sending me Facebook friend requests, Billy from Tuesday's yoga class. Goodbye, everyone.